And as I mentioned earlier, we need a web server both to serve out files to our end users across the internet who are going to be using our web applications, but we're also going to need a web server to serve those same files back to us, even though we're on the same development machine, so that it gives the appearance that we're actually reaching those files across the internet, and we'll know that we're seeing the same thing that end users are seeing. There are a couple of web servers that I want to talk about today. The first of which is Webbrick, and that's the website that I've brought up here. Now, Webbrick ships standard with Rails, so it's not something we need to worry about. It's already built in. It's ready for us to use. So if we've got Rails installed, Webbrick is ready. And that's what we're going to be using throughout the rest of this tutorial. Webbrick works really well for learning and developing in Rails. However, what it doesn't do well is work across the internet when you actually deploy your files to end users. It's simply not powerful enough. Instead, once we get to that point, we'll want to switch to a different option. And I wanted to point out two more of those to you today. One of those is Apache. And you can find out more about Apache at apache.org. Now, Apache ships standard with macOS 10. You may already have it installed and working on your machine. If so, then you'll already know how it works and how to configure it. If not, there are numerous websites and resources out there that can help you get it installed and set up correctly. And the last one that's become very popular in the Ruby community is LightTPD. And the reason a lot of people like it is because it is optimized for speed. So I want to point those out to you and make sure that you know them. Now, of course, there is also a fourth option, which is that when you finally get to deploying this to your end user, you won't have control over what web server you use. You'll be using it with a hosted company. And we'll talk more about that at the end of the tutorial, about how you'll go about that. And in that case, it won't really matter what server you're using as long as you follow their rules. But for now, we're going to stick with Webbrick, and that's what we're going to be using. As I mentioned, it's already pre-installed. So we're ready to go. In our next chapter, we can start learning how to use Ruby on Rails.